So it's my pleasure now to welcome Ibraheem from Saudia, and he is going to share with us, as we start the offer and order track, wrote a presentation about how Saudia has roadmapped their retail transformation through a tech-first and commercial mindset. Ibraheem, thank you.
Hello, good morning. I was always wondering when I read through André Michelin's story about what's really matter is what the customer wants. So in 1900, André Michelin owns tire companies, and he wanted to encourage people to drive over France. So he decided to develop a Michelin book. And everyone since then loves to eat in a Michelin star restaurant. So it started from a tire company and it ended in rating restaurants that serves fine dining. And unfortunately, this is not going to be my presentation today. My presentation today is about airlines, about Saudia Airlines in particular. So we're going to cover some aspects and some historical facts about Saudia. So Saudia started in 1945 when a Dakota was given to the later King Abdulaziz, who's the founder of Saudi Arabia, by Roosevelt. And since then, Saudia has been growing year after year just to ensure that it serves its customer better. Saudia is one of the largest companies, largest group of aviation group in the area of GCC, with more around 170 aircrafts, wide body and narrow bodies, and it has multiple companies working in many aspects of businesses. And in Saudia, we always look to ourselves as the flag carrier of Saudi Arabia and the future of the airline from the western region of Saudi Arabia, using Jeddah as our hub in the coming future. Together with other companies within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we will lead the aviation in the region, especially with the GCC countries. Just recently, I just joined the airline in 2021 as the Chief Transformation Officer, and it's the responsible for the transformation of the airline group post-COVID-19. We were ranked 82 or 80s on Skytrax at Airlines. As of today, Saudia ranks 17 on Skytrax. So that's a big, big transformation in Saudia, showing how we've been taken care of by the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as part of the Vision 2030, and how we grow. We are growing with our new management, new governance within the kingdom and the aviation, the GCC countries. And this is not about a very simple transformation. We're talking about a size of 30 to 40,000 people working in Saudia Airlines across the globe, and their only objective is to serve their customers and improve their operations. And of course, the crew, the frontliners, the pilots play a big role in this transformation. This is a very good painting by Jodie Prosser from Australian. It's an Australian artist. It's a portrait. I loved it so much. It shows how a person has been transformed into an emu bird. And so transformation is in every piece of our life. It's integrated in our daily life. Transformation is a journey, not a destination. We always, in order to make sure that we are leveraging technology and tools, we need to make sure that we understand that transformation starts with the people who are working in the airline themselves. Speaking of the AI, speaking of artificial intelligence now, speaking of this revolution in technology, we always have to think about what our customers need before we think about technology. And with this rapid changing in technologies, we have to always shift our minds to be tech-first mind. But before that, let's talk about past, let's talk about present, and let's talk about future. So in the past, we always think about what the airlines think of operations, how it's become very effective in writing processes, in following rules, in making sure that things are delivered on time. But we work as per the book, we don't work per the customer's needs. And usually you see paperwork, you see people filling out papers just and vouchers just to make our passenger journey as per the operationally sound as possible. And that means that in the past, we were just thinking about operations. In the present, however, we're thinking about digital experience. We're thinking about digital customer journey. We're thinking about AI-driven. We're thinking about personalizing our operations. We're thinking about biometrics. We're thinking about integrations. We're thinking about working in collaboration with every aspect of aviation, airline, with airports, with regulator, with others. And that includes what Saudia just launched recently in 2023, which called Travel Companion. We think differently about traveling now. We're thinking about your whole journey and your whole experience. And of course, with offer and order, we think about dynamic pricing. We think about, with our partners, how we can couple and make sure that we become competitors with our partners and with our competitors in terms of offers and orders. And of course, on the top of all this, data is the king. How we can cleanse the data. You know, Saudia is 80 years old airlines. We're talking about a legacy airline. And Saudia has just, from 2025 to 2030, Saudi are going to double its fleet, reaching to more than 318 aircrafts, wide body and narrow bodies. With this doubling, you can imagine the operation, how it's look like, and what things that we need to inject in our value chain to become more competitive and to ensure that we are controlling our costs. And of course, increasing our revenue. But let's imagine that we are traveling in time. We're traveling to 2040. How is that looks like? How would we depict the future to look like? We would depict the future to look like a seamless operation. We're going to integrate people who are going to use only one single platform. They might use the social media, they might use other channels, but it's only single channel. We will think about predictions rather than just only understanding the data. We want to know how the customers think about their next trip, how to drive customers to have their next trip. So the driver of all this is the customer journey, from the awareness to consideration to a decision to retention to advocacy. This is the whole journey. So how can we integrate all this AI-powered technology to make sure with our partners at the airport, with our partners in other airlines, we can really introduce a seamless trips and seamless journeys to our customers? Of course, in order to ensure that this is happening, we need to bridge between what we call legacy airlines and legacy systems and operation first mindset to tech first mindset, and to make sure that thinkers and doers are doing the same thing over and over to ensure that we have built a cyclic movement within the airlines that's going to offer this kind of services to our customers. Biometrics, or anticipating your sentimentals throughout the journey, not only NPS, but closer monitoring of your sentiment alongside your journey, that will give us some more information. I think the airlines now becomes more and more driven by not only technology and AI, driven by the data that they are collecting from their customers across the globe. And customer segments in this is very, very important. So, are we ready as an airline to embrace technology, to embrace AI? For legacy airlines, this becomes a nightmare. If you ask me what makes you awake at night, I will tell you, I'm just surprised and worried that next day my supervisor or my CEO would say to me, we want to apply this AI technology, or we want to apply that AI technology. So we need to make sure that the foundation is there. There's always under experimentations. Airlines are doing experimentations. Airline still at the early stages, they want to embrace technology. Airlines also want to ensure that the AI is coupled within the value chain. And we can see that the value and the size of the technology has a potential from 2025 to 2030 with a CAGR of 21% compound. But the nightmare is are we ready? Do we have the right mind shift? Do we have mindset? Do we know that our people are going to embrace this? What is this going to have as an implication to our cost structure? We are struggling with skills like any other industries. You know that whenever you have an airlines in 80 years, you'll see that skill sets becomes a nightmare. You want to make sure always there is a development in skill sets and a development in workforce. So what is our strategy? What would make us unique in this industry compared to other airlines? Because there are other airlines all over the globe. And we see them as partners. We see them as an integral part of an ecosystem that would make a seamless operation to our passengers. So in order to make sure that we understand this, we first want to understand what the customers want. There is a professor in Harvard Business School, Clay Christensen. He usually said that we have to think about jobs to be done. So jobs to be done is that we need to make sure that we understand our passengers' needs, and from there we drive our value chain, we drive our services. And also, our bottom line is very, very important. So we need, from maintenance and operation, we need to look into areas where we have predictive maintenance and AI embedded in our systems. So what else? What else in our roadmap? The data and ecosystems. In any airlines group, you would think of how to integrate with airport data centers, how to make sure that this data is accessible and exchangeable so we can use them in our AI-powered tools that we're going to use in our app. So what else? Infrastructure. So we need to make sure also whatever infrastructure we're using is really robust enough and resilient enough so that we can use to empower our AI offering and the services that we are offering to our customers. This is the most difficult pillar, which is the culture of the organization and the workforce. So we are working also in parallel to make sure that the workforce and culture is always taken care of. The value chain alignment is very, very important. So the revenue growth or the cost efficiency, these are most important pillars. And if someone asks me about our roadmap for the airlines, these are the very slide that I would show them. This is the 6 pillars that we're looking at when it comes to improving our airlines, when it comes to technology, embracement, and technology and offer and orders within our retails and our operations. So what do we expect from our partners? Our partners who are listening to us today, people have just walked by their booth, would really encourage them to look to these questions that I have on the slides. So how can AI drive dynamic pricing and ensure that it's going to create 5 to 10% impact within 3 years? These are very important questions. So whenever I stop by a booth, I keep asking these questions to our partners or any potential businesses that offer their services to the airlines. Other questions that I have is the predictive maintenance. You know, when you expand, when you double your fleet and you have one of the biggest MRO villages that would take place in Jeddah, which is around 1 million meters square. It's around 6 times football stadium as a size. This is an MRO village that Saudi is now around to inaugurate in 2027. This is something that we look into is with our partners and how to predict our maintenance and to make sure that the availability of aircraft is always there and it's seamless operation using AI. And of course, sustainability and other questions that we always have to ask ourselves. How can you, as a partner, participate in my value chain and making sure that you are with me delivering value to our end customers. So it's no longer B2B, it's B2B2C. We want to link you directly with our customers. We want you to know what our customers' needs are. And with this, I conclude my presentation, and thank you so much for listening.